Shelter in the storm. The rain came down fast and hard cold needles stabbing through the threadbare hoodie worn by Jake Turner, a single dad juggling an umbrella, a soaked diaper bag, and a wailing baby girl. He was stranded on the side of a quiet suburban road, his rusty old sedan coughing its last breath, a mile back. The nearest bus stop was closed for construction, and his phone had died trying to call for help. He cradled baby Lila close, her tiny cheeks red from the wind, her cries echoing through the storm. Jake muttered softly, "I know, sweetheart. I know. Daddy's trying," just as he shifted her to his other arm and prepared to walk through the storm. A sleek black SUV rolled to a stop beside him. The tinted window slid down. "Do you need help?" a woman's voice called. Smooth, calm, confident, he turned, blinking through the rain. A stunning woman in her late 20s sat behind the wheel, her expression half concerned, half curious. "I'm fine," Jake replied, though he was clearly not. But Lila's high-pitched sob cut through the air again. "Please, get in," the woman insisted. "It's not safe. You'll both get sick." Too tired to argue, Jake hesitated only a moment before climbing in. The warmth inside the luxury vehicle felt like heaven. "I'm Jake," he said awkwardly, brushing water off his jeans. "That's Lila." The woman smiled gently. "Nice to meet you. I'm Charlotte Vale." He didn't recognize the name at first, but later, when she handed him a plush towel and a bottle of filtered baby water from a mini fridge in the back seat, it clicked. Wait, Vale, as in Vale Tech. She gave a sheepish nod. Guilty. Jake blinked. He was dripping rainwater onto the custom leather seats of a billionaire heiress's car. Charlotte drove them to a nearby cafe. She owned one of many, he would learn. She insisted on getting Lila warm milk, a fresh onesie from the boutique next door, and even ordered Jake a meal on the house, over warm soup and dry clothes. Jake opened up about his life, his late wife, the warehouse job, the constant grind, to afford diapers, rent, and hope. Charlotte listened, not with pity, but with quiet admiration. "I didn't grow up with money," Jake said, "and I sure don't have any now, but I try, for her." Charlotte smiled. "That's more than most billionaires I know can say." Before they left, she handed him her card, not just with her number, but with a note scribbled in her handwriting. "Come by the cafe any time. Lila's always welcome. So are you." Jake figured it was a kind gesture he'd never take up, but he did. Again and again. Weeks passed, then months. Charlotte would be waiting at a table with baby toys and warm coffee. She watched Lila grow her first teeth and say her first word, cha-cha, which wasn't quite Charlotte, but close enough. What started as kindness grew into something deeper, and one day, under a clear sky, where their story had once started in the rain, Jake asked her a question with a trembling hand and a tiny ring. She said yes, from a roadside rescue to forever love. Jake and Lila had found a family in the most unexpected storm, and Charlotte, she'd once inherited billions. Now, she had something even rarer, a purpose, a home, a family, and all because she stopped to help a soaked dad with a crying baby in the rain. The next morning, Jake woke up in his cramped apartment, still smelling the lavender scent from the blanket Charlotte had wrapped around baby Lila. The memory of her kindness felt almost like a dream. He checked his cracked phone. Now charged, her number was still saved. He stared at it, then put the phone down. Days passed. Jake returned to his long shifts at the warehouse, juggling overtime with daycare pickups and never enough sleep. Lila had stopped coughing. Charlotte's warm milk and that dry onesie probably saved her from getting sick. Still, Jake hesitated to call. What could a billionaire want with a broke, overworked single dad? One evening, while checking out at a dollar store, a voice called out from behind. "Jake." He turned, stunned. Charlotte stood there, in jeans and a soft green sweater, holding a small bag of dog treats. She smiled, casual like fate hadn't just smacked him in the chest. "I was hoping I'd bump into you again," she said. "You shop here," he blurted. She laughed. "I like normal, quiet, real." Jake chuckled nervously. "Then I guess you picked the right place." That night, over takeout on his tiny couch, Charlotte played peekaboo with Lila. Jake had never seen his daughter laugh so hard. It lit something up inside him, something he'd buried since losing his wife. For the first time in years, the apartment didn't feel heavy. It felt full. As weeks turned into regular dinners and coffee visits, Jake noticed the way Charlotte looked at Lila as if she were already part of her world, and how she looked at him with eyes that saw him, not just his struggles. One rainy afternoon, Charlotte invited them to the cafe's upstairs loft, a space she rarely shared. Jake was hesitant until she led him to a corner that looked like a small nursery crib. "Books, a playmat. I had it set up," she admitted, "in case you ever came back." Jake swallowed hard. "You did this for us." "I don't do things halfway, Jake," she said softly, "especially not with people I care about." But nothing was ever that easy. News broke one day, photos of Charlotte walking through a flea market with Lila on her hip and Jake at her side. The tabloids pounced. Billionaire heiress slumming it with single father. From boardroom, 2 baby bottles. Jake told her, "Maybe you should stay away from us before it costs you more than it already has." Charlotte looked at him, furious and heartbroken. "You think I care what they say? I've spent years being surrounded by people who only pretended to know me. You and Lila, you see me, and I'm not giving that up because someone wrote a headline." Months later, Charlotte invited Jake and Lila to a garden party one she hosted for a children's literacy charity. Jake wore the one suit he had. Lila wore a princess dress Charlotte had gifted her from a friend. Everyone expected Charlotte to make some big announcement, but no one expected her to step on stage, take the mic, and smile at Jake in the crowd. "I've built companies. I've flown jets. I've had dinner with presidents," she said. "But the best thing I ever did was stop for a stranger in the rain." She paused. "Jake Turner, will you marry me?" The crowd gasped. Jake dropped Lila's juice box. "Yes," he shouted without thinking. "Of course, yes." They didn't move into her mansion. They built a new house on land she bought under both their names, with a garden for Lila, a porch swing for Charlotte, and a workshop for Jake to finally start the small furniture business he'd always dreamed of. And every time it rained, they all smiled, because that storm had given them everything they didn't know. They needed love, family, and a second chance at life.